Hello and welcome back. This is the fifth Film Smart podcast. And Josh and I are just going to discuss D23, which happened a few days ago, and Comic-Con, which is going to happen in a few days. And then we might get into some other things later on. But first, I guess there's so much to discuss in terms of D23 and Comic-Con, which is really why we're looking at this a whole episode, because there's so much to talk. I mean, we were talking before this episode, Josh, about Infinity War and what all that could lead to. But I guess of all the things that people were talking about as far as Lion King and Aladdin and Infinity War and Wrinkle in Time and Wreck-It Ralph 2 and Incredibles 2 and Toy Story 4 and all this, and Star Wars. I got to forget that, Star Wars Last Jedi. Out of all these projects, which one are you the most excited for and were impressed by what they talked about or casting or whatever?
I remember I watched the trailer for A Wrinkle in Time.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't moved. I was just like, I didn't know what to say.
Yeah,
because I haven't. I guess it's based on a book, right? I haven't read the book.
Yeah, apparently a lot of people read that book in school, but I think that must have been something that happened a little before we were born, that they would read that.
Yeah, because
I didn't know about anybody who had to read that in school. So
that story has no meaning to me yet. But I don't know. I could be wrong and be blown away, but the trailer itself looked really boring. Visually, it looked cool, but then at the same time, I was like, this looks really not good.
Yeah, I thought the interesting was kind of in. I mean, the beginning was kind of interesting with some of what they said, and then as far as what Oprah said, I didn't care much for what she said, but I liked how her voice sounded. Like she kind of has, I don't know, her voice worked for the trailer, I guess, because you don't really hear. You'd always hear her voice, if you ever have OWN on or something, or when her show was on, but.
Yeah,
she kind of has. I'm surprised they haven't used her for more trailers, actually, because she kind of has a voice that makes it sound epic in a way. But I don't know.
And with Aladdin,
yeah.
So I remember I saw the cast reveal on Twitter. Isn't Will Smith as the genie? I immediately wanted to vomit, but I'm sorry, Will Smith hasn't been cool since like 2009, but.
I thought he was a better part of Suicide Squad, but he was
okay. Like that movie was garbage. So I don't like. I just wanted okay. So I'm a huge fan of like giving big things to small actors or like people who we aren't exhausted of yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like. I understand that Will Smith, like they needed that draw to the box office, but it also is still Aladdin and you're Disney. So, but like Will Smith is so tired. Like I don't care about him anymore. I'm really tired of him, seeing him in movies.
Yeah.
And there's something about his personality and like him and Jada Pinkett Smith over like the last few years. I don't know. Something about them has just made me not care about them. Like because there's just something about their attitude.
Yeah, I don't know, because he has to fill the role of Robin Williams now, because Robin Williams is the last person that did the genie, and he's one of the most beloved. That was one of the most beloved voice performances of all time, and so he's got some big shoes to fill. I think they're not going to try to have him copy that, but
I wouldn't. I would just say, just do it how you're going to do it, because Robin Williams' version will always exist, and yours is about to exist. Like I don't.
Well, they said he's going to take inspiration from all the iterations. So, like, because Aladdin is a really old story. So they would take it, he would take maybe a little from Robin and then some from other iterations that we have no idea about. But, yeah.
I was mostly excited just to see that. Well, there was actually some backlash on Twitter. This might be the hypersensitive Twitter saying that she
I know what you're talking about.
That was the girl, her mom's like white or something, so she's only like 3/4.
Yeah, she's like her mom's half
Egyptian
Indian or something.
Yeah, and I'm just like, then people were like, well, they casted the most white woman looking. I'm just, I mean, I don't really know what to say. I mean, they could. there's potential. I mean, all these people, obviously, I think if you're of that descent, you could obviously get darker. But
yeah, I think with this though is I actually understand where people are coming from with this. I don't think it's too sensitive. The only reason I say that is because, well, two reasons. For one, she's only a quarter not white, which is, I mean, that's a significant amount, I guess. But it's that's it. It's just that she didn't find like an Arab actress or anything. And actually, that quarter that isn't white isn't even Arab. It's Indian, which is not Arab. That's
she's not. Yeah, she doesn't really fit the role at all.
Yeah, and Aladdin, they never specified where it takes place, but I think it's pretty obvious that it doesn't take place in India. And so I think there's a song in it, like 1,000 Arabian Nights, which actually is a story too. Well, Arabia would be, I mean, that's Arabia, that's not India. So I thought if you're at least gonna, not find an actress who is of mostly Arab descent, at least, or an actress who is of mostly, if you're gonna find somebody who's not just mostly white, at least find somebody who is of Arab descent, and they didn't even do that. He is, I think his name is Maina Musad is the guy playing Aladdin. And I think this woman was in Power Rangers, is how people know her, I think.
The new one or like the TV show?
No, I think the new one, I think. Or maybe was it? Well, how long? She's probably too young to have been in the TV show, I guess. Unless she was on the, well, they did make some newer ones when we were younger, I guess. But I don't know how old she is. But yeah, I guess we'll see. I don't know. It was a little.
Yeah, I'm confident.
Yeah,
I'm confident they'll be fine, like fine acting wise. So,
but the live action one that I'm more excited for is Lion King. Mainly because for one, I love the story and I haven't watched it in a long time, but also because of the
I've never seen it. So.
Yeah, that's hard. I remember you said you hadn't watched it. I was like, oh my gosh! But the people involved in this story, I really like. So you got Jon Favreau. Directed one of my favorite movies, Iron Man, and directed Jungle Book, which was the last year's live action. And it was awesome. Yeah, it was a great movie, and it was all on blue screen, green and blue screen. I think blue screen. And the only real thing essentially was like the boy and maybe a stick he was holding. And so he's fresh off of that. So he knows how to do this live action stuff. Whereas that, you can't even call it live action, but what I mean. Because this movie isn't going to have any human characters. There isn't going to be a little boy in this because it's all animals. But this movie, he's bringing James Earl Jones back, who voiced Mufasa in the animated movie. So he's brought back, which I'm glad to see. They were Donald Glover, who's fresh off of Atlanta, which has got a bunch of Emmy nominations, and he's fresh off of his music career. He was in Spider-Man. He's going to be in Star Wars, in the Han Solo movie. I mean, he's a lot going for him. He was a 30 Rock writer. And he has an amazing career for somebody who's like 33. But he's going to be voicing Simba. And then I think John Oliver is voicing the bird, which is funny because he always compares himself to a bird on his show. And then I think there were rumors that I was not keen of, but they mentioned that this was probably like April or March, that there were rumors that Beyonce was voicing Simba's love interest.
Yeah, and people are still saying that on Twitter. Yeah,
but it was never confirmed, and she's not been cast. So I don't know if that's the case or not.
Beyonce's been cast, or nobody has been cast for that yet?
She hasn't been. Yeah, nobody's been cast for Nala. So. I don't know.
It could be possible. I mean, I can see her doing it.
I mean, I can see her doing it, but her voice is like, I think her voice would be might take me out of the movie, just because she has
black people will go see it. So.
Well, yeah, but
I think in the end, like, really like her brand, because on Twitter at least, like the desire for her to be in that movie is huge.
Really.
And I don't understand. I mean, I don't really care. I think that voice actors should take priority, but
Yeah, I agree. I don't. Why is Beyonce and not some voice actor doing?
Yeah, I mean, like have her do a soundtrack song, but if you want her, like, I mean, that's, I guess that I don't know. I can't. I can't come up with a reason why like she needs to be in the movie or like.
Yeah,
I mean, I like her, so cool.
Yeah, I mean, she's but I think her voice is really recognizable and deep and powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And so having her in that might just take me out of the movie. I don't know. But the voice that I'm more concerned about is I hope they get Alfred himself, Jeremy Irons, back to play Scar, because I thought that when I was a kid, I mean, that was probably like the first villain I was exposed to, and he was so good as that villain. And so I'd love to see him brought back, just like they brought James Earl Jones back and play Scar, because Scar to me is almost on the level of like the Joker and Darth Vader in terms of like iconic villains in movies, and that had they were given either great voices or performances or whatever. So I hope he's brought back, but I trust in Jon Favreau after what he did with Jungle Book. So I'm excited about what's going to happen with this movie. And I think they showed some footage. And I think Seth Rogen is voicing Pumbaa, who's the warthog. And then I think Josh Gad is voicing Timon, but I can't remember exactly. So yeah, it has most of the cast lined up. It just doesn't have like the villain or Nala. And Nala doesn't have a huge role. So whoever is cast in it is not going to be. Although, I don't know, they might change it up. I just remember Simba, Mufasa, obviously he dies later on, but Simba, Mufasa, and Scar are kind of like the big three in the movie. And maybe they'll bring back Whoopi Goldberg for the hyena. I don't know. But I'm looking forward to it. What else are movies? Because we're trying to like, obviously we're walking around Star Wars and Infinity War for a minute. Toy Story 4, I think they showed some footage of. I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I think the Toy Story trilogy is in the conversation for the best trilogy of all time, along with Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. And I think this Ape trilogy that's going on right now, I think it's in the conversation for that. But when they announced that they were doing a fourth Toy Story, I was a little perplexed because it had such a nice ending to it. I didn't understand why they would want to return to that. But I don't know. Are you a fan of those movies?
Yeah, I like them. I don't really have any interest in seeing the fourth one.
Yeah, see, I grew up with the second movie that came out when I was a little kid. I grew up with those movies. But and the third one, I remember seeing that I think I saw that on my 12th birthday or something. But I loved those movies, but I thought it had such a nice ending. I had mixed feelings when they announced that they were doing a fourth one a couple of years ago, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm kind of happy to see some of the characters come back, but I'm also nervous about. I don't want them to ruin what they've done.
Yeah, how did Cars 3 do?
Cars 3 did not do well. I mean, it really went downhill.
Because I'm just sitting here like I feel like the enthusiasm, like they're making sequels to things that the enthusiasm is just gone.
Well, see, like Cars, the only people who are enthusiastic about Cars are little kids, and so obviously the money they make is from the parents who are dragged there by their 7-year-olds. And like I remember seeing the first Cars with my dad when I was 9 or something, and I watched the first Cars recently. And it's a fun movie. It's fine. It's not Pixar's best work, but it's fine. And the second one is probably their worst work. And so for them to come back and do a third one, nobody asked for that. I remember they announced they're like Toy Story 4, Incredibles 2, which everybody's excited about, and also there's this Cars 3 movie that we're doing too. And nobody cares about Cars 3.
I'm actually super excited for Incredibles 2 though.
Oh, you have Incredibles is, in my opinion, the best Pixar movie ever made. And
I remember. Like I never ever once got tired of watching that movie when I was younger.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it now. I watched it
Any,
last year. I loved it.
Anytime I saw that it was on TV, I would immediately watch it. I would stop the channel and just watch it.
Yeah, that's what the Fantastic Four movie should have been. But
Oh God, yes.
it's a great movie. It's an excellent movie. I mean, that's up there with Toy Story and Wall-E and Ratatouille.
It has iconic lines and everything. Is this just where is my super suit?
I think that movie came out when we were in first grade.
Really?
Yes, it came out in 2004.
Oh God.
5 or 6, and now they're finally, or 6, and now they're finally, and it's not even coming out next year. I think it's coming out 2019. Oh, that's,
they better get it right.
Yeah, they better. I wanted a sequel to this movie for a long time. And the way that it picks up, the movie, I hear it picks up right where the first one ended. The first one ended with there's this new villain, like the Mole Man guy. And I don't know if he's going to be the villain in the second one, but it kind of, the way that they ended the first one, it's like you would have expected a sequel 2 or 3 years later. And here we are with this second one coming out, almost 15 years, or not almost, but actually 15 years after the first one. So I heard the footage was cool, and there was like Jack using his powers that we saw at the end of the movie.
This is kind of depressing, making me feel old.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we were 6 when we saw it, and now we're going to be like 21.
And now that I can say, oh yeah, that was 20 years ago, 15 years ago that movie came out. 15 years ago, the movies were good. You don't know anything about good cinema. We're gonna be saying
that 2004.
2004.
Like I like when people say like 1980 instead of just like 1980.
1980.
Because really, because now we say 20. That was before
20.
2010. Nobody was saying 2009. Nobody said that. You'd said 2009. But now it's like you say 20, and that'll be the thing from now until I guess 2999. But or I guess they'll call it 2999. But you know what I mean. That'll be the thing. They won't.
Yeah, it'd be so weird to say, "Hey, what year is it? 2999."
Yeah. Ugh. But see, nobody will be saying 1,000 until 3,000. That's when they're going to bring it back again. But yeah, so I guess at the beginning of the 20th century, they would say like 1901 or 1901, But at some point they just started saying 19. But anyway, I don't know how we got on that tangent. Oh, we were making fun of our house. But what other? There's Mary Poppins. I haven't seen the first Mary Poppins, so I don't have a whole lot of interest.
I mean, I have no clue what that's even about. But
I think it's cool that like Dick Van Dyke, who was in his 90s, was in the first one, and now he's in this one. And they said he was dancing in the trailer. So I think that's kind of cool that somebody's doing that 50 years from the last one. Emily Blunt is in it. I know you like her, so I guess that's.
Yeah, I love Emily Blunt.
Yeah, so that's worth something. But I want to go back. There's a few classic movies that I have not seen that I like, specifically that came out around that time, like that movie and Sound of Music and Lawrence of Arabia. Classic mid-'60s movies that I just haven't gotten around seeing yet. So I'd like to see. There's a few of those I'd like to see before summer's over. So maybe I'll be excited. But that doesn't even come out until December of next year. So it's hard to get like too excited about a movie that's not out for over a year. I think. Oh, and there was Wreck-It Ralph. That's another one. I haven't seen the first Wreck-It Ralph. Actually, I never got around to seeing that for whatever reason. So I don't know. I hear it's good, and I want to check that out at some point. But I guess the second one will be cool. I don't know. I think I heard that the footage showed like a bunch of Disney princesses. All like were making fun of each other, and C-3PO was in it. So I don't even know what that's going to look like, but okay, that's interesting. They brought back all the voice actresses for the Disney princesses, which I don't know. I don't think they could have done that for Sleeping Beauty or Cinderella because those movies came out in the 50s. And sure the women who voiced them were like, they weren't teenagers when they voiced them. They were like in their. I have this feeling that like some of them were in their 40s or 50s for some when they voiced them, and so like those people are probably not voicing these characters in Wreck-It Ralph 2. But like Ming Na Wen, who's on Agents of Shield, who did Mulan, she's back for that, and I think they even said like recent characters like Moana, somebody as recent as Moana is even in that scene, I think. So that'll be interesting. I don't know, but now let's get back to the big boys for D23 real quick. Star Wars. I'm jumping to Star Wars because there was less information about Star Wars. We just saw the featurette, which I thought it was a cool featurette. I remember when The Force Awakens came out and they showed a featurette at Comic-Con 2015. I didn't watch it because I didn't want any spoilers for that movie at that time. I remember I was freaking out. And I think I had read an article about Han Solo dies and Lando Calrissian will come back and avenge him in episode 8. I remember reading that like 2 years ago. And so like they were right about half of that. So I don't know if Lando is supposed to be. They haven't said anything about Lando being in this movie, but maybe that's. I always had this feeling like they're hiding him from us, especially since Donald Glover is like he's reaching the role is getting some more prominence because he's going to be in Han Solo. I don't know, but we'll see. I've heard rumors that Billy D. Williams is going to like be talking to somebody about what happened with him and Han in the when they were younger. And that's how the movie is. It's just him kind of narrating it, telling a story. I don't know if that's true or not, but if you're doing that, why not putting him in episode 8 or 9? But anyway, the featurette I thought was cool, and it was nice to see Carrie Fisher talking at the end. It was pretty sad, talking about how Star Wars is family, which made me think about Fast and Furious because they was talking about that being family. But I liked it. I thought it was interesting. It didn't give anything away. It looked cool. I don't know. Did you get a chance to watch it, Josh?
What'd you say?
Did you get a chance to watch the Star Wars featurette? Yeah, I mean, it was cool. It was nice, but it didn't give anything away. So there isn't really a whole lot to say in terms of Last Jedi because or Star Wars in general, because they didn't talk about Han Solo because of all the controversy in the last month with that. And then we've already had a trailer for The Last Jedi, and we probably won't get another one because they're not going to be at Comic-Con. So we probably won't get another Last Jedi trailer until I would imagine September, October. I think the Force Awakens last trailer came out in October. So
does that movie comes out this year?
Yeah.
I totally lost track of the Star Wars franchise now.
Yeah, it comes out this December, like the last two. So I don't know. Well, it has an interesting. The marketing for it, I think, is a little different because the Force Awakens, when that trailer was released, the first trailer was released November of 2014, like on Thanksgiving, and they or the day before or whatever. They did that because that was the announcement. Hey, Star Wars is back. They didn't have to do that for this one because we had already had Force Awakens. We had already had Rogue One. There's no need to do that. So they didn't release the first trailer until Star Wars Celebration that was in mid to late April. So now, if they're going by which was when April was when they released the second or the first full trailer for Star Wars The Force Awakens. And I think it's when they released the Rogue One trailer was April. April's like a month they like doing because I guess Celebration. And so I think the next trailer that they released for The Force Awakens was in October. Weirdly, I remember that, but I don't remember last year when Rogue One released its second trailer. But we'll see. Maybe I would expect probably September, October. I think for them to have only had one small, because the first trailer is kind of a teaser, really. For them to only have had that and wait until October, I think would not make a whole lot of sense. So I would expect probably. What were you going to say?
I just feel like, this movie doesn't have as much steam for marketing wise. It's probably still going to be a huge,
it's going to be a $1 billion movie, but it's going to.
Yeah.
But maybe it could be $1.5 billion movie because if they push it a little more, not that they haven't been pushing it, but I'm just saying if their next trailer isn't released until October, I think that's bad marketing strategy. I think it would behoove them to release. I feel like Rogue One released maybe in August, but if they released it maybe in August or September, that would make sense leading up, and then release another one maybe. I don't know, but I don't know. They just have to think about this because the movie at this point it's far away, but in a few months it's not going to be far away. If you release it in October, that's 2 months. Tickets are going to be going on sale in October. Remember, we bought our Force Awakens tickets in October. So
memories.
Yeah. So I don't, they have to be careful about this because they're really, I don't have anything to say about the movie, and I don't want to have anything. I don't want to know anything about the movie. But in terms of like just this footage and things we've seen, there's really nothing to talk about other than the Jedi are dead. We've been saying that for 3 months. They said that because Luke said that at the end of the trailer. Mm-hmm. But other than that, there really isn't a whole lot to talk about. And then, of course, there's the big one, Infinity War. Out of all of the things that we were talking about, Infinity War probably had the most talk and was probably the most exciting, but also the most disappointing because they showed a trailer and I think everybody's read that trailer description. That's a nerd. Has read that trailer description, but they didn't release it. And so I kind of get why they didn't release it, but I'm so disappointed because I want to see it.
Me too. I think it might leak after Comic-Con because they're definitely going to show a similar trailer.
That's what I was wondering. I said because Star Wars is not going to Comic-Con, so whatever they did has nothing to do. There's nothing going on there. But Avengers or Marvel is going to Comic-Con, and so I'm wondering. You bring out the whole cast and you show a trailer at D23, which is only a week before Comic-Con. Are you going to do the same thing this time? Because think about what Marvel has to do more than Infinity War. They got Thor coming out. They're going to want to talk about that. They've got the Defenders coming out next month. They're going to want to talk about that. They've got the Inhumans coming out in September. They're going to want to talk about that. And then they have Black Panther coming out in February. These are all things that are closer, right? Like those are... And not that Infinity War is that far, but Infinity War is another 10 months. But all these things are, Defenders is literally next month, and then Humans is less than 2 months from now, and Thor is only a few months from now. So they're going to want to talk, and Black Panther's not that far, so they're going to want to talk about all these things probably more. And I don't know what they're going to do I would imagine Thor is probably going to get another trailer because we got a Thor trailer, I think, at the end of March. So it's been a while. It's July now. It's almost the end of July. Well, it's not the end of July, but by the time Comic-Con comes, it'll be close to the end of July. So they're going to want to do that. And then Black Panther, they're not going to release a Black Panther trailer likely because they just released that one a little over a month ago. So, which I thought was strange, by the way. I love the trailer. Yeah, I love the trailer and everything, but I thought it was strange to release that a month before Comic-Con. But I don't know.
Yeah, rather than just waiting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe they might, I don't know, give us, I know that wouldn't be smart. I don't know.
Maybe they would release a clip. And
that's what I was thinking. I was like, are they going to give us a clip? Yeah. That's like,
yeah, I don't know. Sometimes what panels do at Comic-Con, they just have the cast come out and then people ask them questions and then they like try to go around the question.
Yeah.
Which kind of is boring. So which I don't know what the point of that is. So they do that sometimes because they'll be like, well, we don't want to release any footage yet, or we've already released footage. Or in Black Panther's case, they released footage a month ago, and then just a few days ago they had the EW magazine, and there was pictures and everything. So I don't know what the point of Black Panther even being at Comic-Con is now. Just to talk to people and like go around questions. Yeah, I don't know what their plan is. Yeah, Thor, on the other hand, can release a trailer because they haven't had one since March.
And Thor, I think Thor needs some image help.
Yeah. Although, his trailer did really well.
Did it?
Yeah, the trailer was, I think, it's still, because it changes so much, but I think it's still in the top 3 or 5 most viewed trailers of all time.
Wow.
In the first 24 hours. It did really well. I don't remember exactly where it's listed, but it did really well trailer wise, and I think a lot of people like that trailer. Did you like the trailer?
Yeah, I hope Thor comes back with the role because the first Thor I saw that 11 times.
What?
So, yeah, I saw it in the Dollar Theater, and I remember I saw it with my mom a few times, and then I think I don't know who I saw. I think I saw it with my friend Cameron. Then I saw it with my brother, and then we had his friend slept over one day. And this is because we were way younger then. And I remember we had nothing to do, so I was like, "You guys want to go see Thor?" Because I mean, it was literally and I saw it with you.
Or no, you didn't. No, I saw it with Asher. Or did I see? I don't remember. I probably shouldn't be saying his name.
What movie did I see with you? What was the first Marvel movie? I feel like
that's what I'm trying to think. I know we saw Guardian. Oh, No, we didn't see Winter Soldier together. Iron Man 3. No, not Thor: The Dark World. No, we saw Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah. Did I see that?
Yeah, we saw that because you had already seen it. You saw like a Thor. You did like a Thor marathon.
Yeah, the Thor-thon. Yeah,
which back then the Thor marathon would have been 3 movies. But
it was Thor, the Avengers, and Thor 2. Yeah. But like, what was I gonna say?
I don't know, but I'll let you come back to it. I'm just gonna. We saw that together, and then and right before that, because when I saw Thor the first time, I know how much you love it. I didn't. Yeah, like I thought it was boring, and I was expecting. I was like, well, I loved Iron Man. I thought Iron Man 2 was cool. I thought I liked the Incredible Hulk to a degree. And at that time, Thor was the 4th movie, so there hadn't been a whole lot. There basically had just been Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk.
I remember I never saw the Avengers in theaters. I saw.
Yeah, I know. You watched that with me. You watched that at my house.
Yeah. That's so weird.
And you liked it.
How did I completely
you like missed the event, the biggest movie of the year.
The Avengers. Yeah, it went completely over my head.
But which is weird because you saw Thor.
Yeah, and I saw Captain America in theaters.
Yeah, so you saw like the lead up movies, but then didn't see the finish. But
I don't know.
But anyway, so yeah, I remember I didn't like it. I thought I was expecting. I was like, oh, this is Marvel. It's going to be like Iron Man, and it wasn't. And so it took me aback. And also, I like Thor, but it doesn't have a whole lot of action in it or anything. So it's it's not.
Yeah.
It's not your typical action superhero movie. But then I went back and I hadn't watched it in a couple of years. And I went back and I watched it right before Thor: The Dark World came out. And I liked it a lot. I was like, wow.
Yeah, it has some really nice charm. I think that's what I always liked about it.
Yeah, and the comedy is funny. It's funny.
Like I remember at the end when he gets his powers, like she's like, "Oh my god!" Yeah. that always makes you crack up.
And I like the way the way they introduced him into the world, and him being like, it kind of was the Wonder Woman effect of like the fish out of water. Like it was a similar story. Mm-hmm. I guess I shouldn't call it the Wonder Woman effect. Like that hasn't been done a billion times, but you know what I mean? The fish out of water.
And Thor came first.
Yeah, and Thor was first. But I liked the fish out of water storyline. I thought Loki was a cool villain. So I don't know. It was a much better viewing this time. So, and Thor: The Dark World, which I know you hate. I don't hate that movie. I think it's okay. I think it's an okay movie. I think it's not as good as the first one. And I think it's probably the worst Marvel movie other than maybe Iron Man 2. But I would say even those 2 Marvel movies, those 2 bad Marvel movies, to me, when you compare them to movies like recent movies like Batman vs. Superman and Fantastic Four and Suicide Squad, I don't think they should be thrown in that conversation. To me, they're middle of the ground to good movies, to decent movies. Whereas, I mean, those are some like historically bad movies in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And that's not me hating on DC because I also mentioned Fantastic Four to balance it out. But, and I love DC movies because obviously they did Man of Steel and The Dark Knight and whatever. But sometimes I feel like Iron Man 2 and Thor: The Dark World get thrown into that. Oh, those are crappy comic book movies because we've been so spoiled with great ones.
I can watch Iron Man 2 pretty easily.
Sometimes people are like, that's a horrible It's not a horrible movie. It's not it's not Marvel's best work. It's not even Iron Man's best work.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad movie. I mean, have you seen Catwoman?
Exactly. Yeah, that's horrible.
Have you seen Suicide Squad? Have you seen any of the Fantastic Four movies? Have you seen Batman vs. Superman? It's better than all those, in my opinion.
I actually really, really like the second half of Iron Man 2.
Really?
Yeah.
But so with the footage with the Infinity War, so they had all the cast come out. Well, no, they didn't have all the cast because Black Widow was not there, or I should say,
Scarlett
Scarlett
Johansson.
Johansson was not there. Chris Evans was not there. I mean, he's the top. He's in the top big two, I guess. Iron Man and Cap. He wasn't there, and I don't even think Chris Pratt was there. And he's like, if you take out the Avengers, he's the leader of. I mean, he's the Tony Stark of the Guardians.
Yeah,
and he wasn't there. I don't think Zoe Saldana was. I mean, there's a lot of people that were not there that are like
so
main.
all the stars weren't there.
Yeah, so a lot of the main Bradley Cooper, I don't think was there. I mean, a lot of these guys who like play main characters or voice main characters were not there. Not to say that there weren't a lot of big ones. Obviously, Spider-Man and Iron Man and Black Panther and Falcon and Scarlet Witch and all these guys were there, of course. But there were a few like glaring people. Like I couldn't believe that Captain America wasn't there and Star-Lord wasn't there and Black Widow wasn't there. I mean, that was like, where are these guys? But anyway, it was cool to see them out all on stage and see them like get called out. And they had Josh Brolin come out, who's Thanos. And then we got a description of the footage about what is it like? I think that I remember. Obviously, there's scene where we're talking about like Thanos putting his hand through a wormhole and throwing a moon at the Avengers. Which, I mean, that kind of sounds amazing, but I would like to see it, instead of just hear about it or read about it. And then they were talking about a scene where I think Spider-Man is on a bus and his like Spidey sense.
His hair stand up and Spidey sense comes in.
And he looks back and there's like a bunch of turmoil in the city. So that's what I'm wondering. Like, so is the turmoil aliens coming back, or is the turmoil just Thanos destroying the city? What's happening? That's what nobody like gave a description of that. So I'm curious as to what that means. And then I think it starts off with Thor landing on the Milano. That the Guardians fly in.
Yeah.
Which makes perfect sense. Of all the characters to meet the Guardians first, Thor would make the most sense. I mean, if you look at
I'm pretty sure we predicted that.
Yeah, and we probably did at some point. I mean, Thor Ragnarok, if you look at the trailer, looks like almost Guardians 3. Not story-wise or anything. I'm just talking about Grace Randolph had said this, that the cosmic universe that Marvel's created, say what you will about anything, if you criticize whatever, you can tell that it is all in the same universe. Like Guardians and Thor clearly look like they exist like next to each other. If Thor isn't on the planet that they might be on, it very clearly looked like, when I saw that trailer, I was like, wow, this looks like Guardians. Like, and I didn't mean that in a bad way. I meant that like this feels like a cohesive universe.
That's a good thing, yeah. Cohesive, yeah.
So, which is good because Thor 3 is, the other Thor movies are kind of cosmic, but I always felt like they were more, I don't know, mythical. And there was something, this one really, there was like, because it was in another realm, which I don't even know what that really means. Realm, I feel like just means an area of the universe. But for a time, I thought it meant like another dimension. I don't know what that means exactly.
That's what I think it might still.
Yeah, that's what I'm confusing. Because they always say that Midgard is Earth. But but that doesn't make any sense. If we're going by the idea that it's different dimensions, that doesn't make any sense.
Dimensions, yeah.
Because Earth is not a dimension; it's a planet that exists in this vast universe. So I think it might mean just areas of the universe, and not like galaxies, but like different sets. Because a galaxy would be too small, I think. But I don't know. Because Guardians of the Galaxy would be considered part of Midgard, I guess, unless Midgard is only Earth. So I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. But anyway, if wherever the first two Thor movies always felt like a little bit more mythical. Like he was on this, like he was on Asgard, and it felt it didn't feel alien, if you know what I mean. I don't know if you know what I mean, but it didn't feel like it was on an alien planet. It just felt like he was in Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones or something. Like it did feel, Game of Thrones doesn't feel like it's on an alien planet, although it could in theory take place on an alien planet. It's just different. It's like fantasy. And fantasy to me is very different than sci-fi. Whereas Thor Ragnarok feels like sci-fi. The first two Thors felt like fantasy. This feels like sci-fi now. He's on different planets. He's meeting like aliens that look familiar. If you've seen Guardians movies, it's a little different. Hulk is in it even, which adds to it a little bit. So
I can't wait to see that part.
Yeah, when they fight, and Doctor Strange is in it too. What were you about to say?
Oh wait, really?
Yeah, actually the movie, when they announced that he was in it, they had described it as this road trip movie with the three of them. So
okay, sounds corny. Never mind.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much Doctor Strange is going to be in it because he's at the end of Thor is at the end of Doctor Strange or in a post-credit scene, and that scene is supposed to be like expanded upon in Thor. So I don't know how big of a role he's playing. Like I don't know if he's going into space with them or not. But like I think a lot of the plot of the movie is going to be Thor is captured by Jeff Goldblum or whatever, and he's going to have to fight Hulk. But then they're going to have to like try to get off the planet so they can go back to Earth or wherever. Or maybe they won't get back to Earth before Infinity War. I don't know.
Well, yeah, because if he's floating around,
So, but regardless, they're going to try to get off that planet so they're not forced to fight each other, like gladiators. And
wait, so Doctor Strange is on the planet too?
No, that the scene with Doctor Strange or the scene with Thor that was in Doctor Strange was in New York. It was in Greenwich Village, and so and if you watch the beginning of the first Thor trailer, you see Hela destroy Thor's hammer, and you can tell that they're clearly in New York. So I think that Doctor Strange scene is either going to take place probably after Thor. Probably after that scene in the Thor trailer. I can't remember if his hammer's in that scene or not, but regardless, it's going to take place either before or after that scene. I think if you like piece it sequentially now, and then he's going to have to go to space or whatever, I guess. And I don't know if Doctor Strange is going to like be there to like open a dimension for him, open a portal or something. And he's there for that, or if he's going to space with them. Maybe we'll see once because I guarantee I'm almost willing to bet that they're going to release a Thor trailer next week. So maybe we'll find out in that trailer because they didn't put Doctor Strange in the first trailer. They only put Hulk. So I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. But anyway, I'm excited. I thought the trailer looked really cool. I thought Jeff Goldblum and Tessa Thompson and Cate Blanchett are such great actors. I thought the visuals looked really cool. I love the director who did What We Do in the Shadows. He has a really interesting sensibility. So I'm really excited. I mean, I originally had said Spider-Man was my most anticipated Marvel movie this year. And then I saw the Thor trailer and I was like, oh man, I don't know. And actually even before then I wasn't sure.
I'm excited. I think I'm excited now for Thor so much more because it doesn't take place on Earth.
Yes. Yeah, it's something and it doesn't take place on Asgard either, really.
Yeah, it's going places we haven't seen yet. And then I like to see, now that all these characters are getting to mix and these stories are like, I don't know, it's just the universe is becoming so much bigger organically, and we're not just jumping like, I don't know. I like seeing that it is connected and how they're telling all these stories and how everything intertwines, and it's all going to lead back to Infinity War.
Yeah, it's that because there was a time like now we're kind of people are like, oh, cinematic universes. We're getting tired of it, but it's kind of fun. Like I have to admit, like when you're watching like Jessica Jones or something, and they mention something about the Avengers incident where somebody tries to kill her because she blames all the superhumans for what happened in the Avengers. It's kind of cool. It's like to have a tie.
Yeah,
it's fun. And if nothing else, it's fun just to like oh that impacted that or that's connected to that. I think the criticism with Marvel sometimes is that the TV shows don't impact the movies. It's just vice versa.
Yeah,
the movies always impact the TV shows.
I guess nothing on the TV shows that is big enough to.
No, I mean nothing. But like, my problem with that is that what's the point of having them in the universe? If you're just
nothing.
Yeah, because people always say, well, it's like real life. Have you ever met Obama? Well, no, I haven't met Obama, but this is real life. The point of the movies are not to be real life. Like that you can make it realistic in things, but what's the point of having Daredevil in the same universe as the Guardians of the Galaxy if he's never going to shake hands with Groot? Or what's the point of Jessica Jones existing amongst Iron Man if she's never going to meet him? If you have the opportunity to do this, do it.
Maybe one day.
Yeah, maybe.
It might actually.
Well, I had heard
You
a
never know.
rumor.
We could always see them in the background or something, or like.
Well, yeah, I thought this would be the perfect time to do it. Now you've established all these Netflix characters. Wouldn't it be perfect by Infinity War? Thanos is attacking New York, like that Spidey scene we were talking about. Wouldn't it make sense for Daredevil to be in the background saving some people?
Okay, that'd be awesome though. If they come to help Spider-Man. Oh God.
Yeah, and
Oh
they're all in
God.
New York.
That's awesome.
Why wouldn't Spider-Man? And also, Spider-Man has shares a villain with Daredevil, which is Kingpin. Kingpin has caused trouble for both of them in the comics. Mm-hmm. And depending on who you ask, some people say Kingpin's a bigger Spider-Man villain than he is a Daredevil villain. And some people say the opposite. I've had this like people have said like, no, he's a bigger Daredevil villain, and I know somebody who's like, no, he's a Spider-Man villain. So it's clear that he's impacted both of them.
Mm-hmm. So, can someone deliver this podcast to Kevin Feige?
I know, well, because I just get annoyed. I'm just like, what's the point of all this if you're not going to connect it? But mm-hmm. I mean, obviously they're connected, but I mean, like, really connected. I mean, not once in Spider-Man did he say anything about the devil of Hell's Kitchen or the girl who snapped the Purple Man's neck or anything. I mean, they didn't mention any of that stuff, and they had the perfect opportunity to. Nobody saw Spider-Man swinging around and said, "Oh, thanks, Daredevil." I don't know. It just doesn't. I don't know why they wouldn't take advantage. I mean, they have this whole vast universe, and they don't. I feel like sometimes they don't. Same my complaint with Guardians of the Galaxy 2. They didn't connect it as much with Infinity War, Thanos as I thought they could have. So I don't know what their thinking is sometimes. But regardless, I guess, were you excited or more excited for Infinity War or less excited or the same after hearing about the footage and seeing
I was definitely more excited, but I'm still the only thing is like I hate big ground war type of things for superheroes. Like that just gets really boring.
What do you mean ground war?
So like basically if it's just gonna be like basically them throwing all the power they can at one person or something. Like I don't know.
Like that end scene in
I don't care. Like I thought that that's exactly what I was about to say. I thought it was corny when they were all just like shooting beams at Ultra. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was boring.
Like I'm just sitting there like and then we're fighting nameless armies of copies or like clones or something. Like I don't care.
What they have to do is make us sympathetic and interested in Thanos and his children, I guess.
Yeah, like do you think that all of them are? I don't know. Did the footage say that all of them are really fighting Thanos?
Like all the Avengers and Guardians, are they all fighting Thanos?
Yeah.
Oh, in that scene, I don't know. But
because I'm wondering, is it going to be like Gamora kills him or something? Like they're fighting, they're holding things off, and then somebody goes in to kill him.
Well, that would make sense. Here's how I think my perfect scenario for this, and this includes the Defenders, is that you have people on the ground, like Falcon. Falcon is like, how is Falcon going to go to space? I don't even know how Spider-Man's going to go to space, but how is Falcon going to go to space? But Spider-Man is in that space scene, by the way. They said he's in that. At one point, Thanos throws Spider-Man, they say. So he's in.
Oh, God.
So I don't know how he's supposed to survive that, but whatever.
Maybe if he has I haven't seen the movie yet. But does that Iron Spider or like the Iron?
He might take suit? That. I don't. They don't explain it, but he might take.
Like, does that help him?
Possibly, but to me, it would make sense. Keep Hawkeye and Black Widow when it gets to like when it really starts to get bad. Keep Black Widow, Hawkeye, Falcon. I don't know who else. Whatever. The Defenders. Keep them on the ground. They're helping people while they're the city or the world's getting destroyed, really. And then you have
this is global.
And even Cap could stay on the ground. But then because what is Cap doing? How is Cap going to go to space? What is he going to do against Thanos? But,
or even really, like minions.
Yeah. Is he going to throw his frisbee at him? I mean,
and then who's in the Hulkbuster? I just remember that was.
They did say that was there, so I guess Iron Man's in it.
Yeah. If it's not Iron Man, I guess it could always be War Machine if he ever gets his.
Yeah.
Whew.
Awesome. But the thing I'm wondering about is, Did they say the scene was actually like on a planet or in space?
I'm really not even sure.
Because what I'm confused about is how are these people going to breathe? None of these people have the ability, other than like Star-Lord. These people can't just be in space. Like Iron Man, it makes sense. He has a mask on. You're gonna put a astronaut suit on Scarlet Witch?
Maybe she'll create some type of I don't know.
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I have a really hard time picturing it, which is why I so badly want to see the footage so I can go, oh yeah, that makes sense, you stupid idiot. Which I'm starting to think like maybe Thanos will create a portion of space that they don't have to breathe in. But that would make sense.
Why would he help them?
Yeah, that would help them. So I don't know why he'd want to do that. So I'm thinking maybe they're on a planet that isn't Earth, or maybe a planet. Cool. But they made a big point about saying that this Infinity War is not Earth based. It's in space. So how are you going to do that? I don't know. I have a hard time.
Maybe the helicarriers he makes Tony develops cool.
I'm sure there's going to be a scene in the middle of the movie where they're talking about, oh, we have to go to space, and Nick Fury's like, we got that covered for you, and they send out these big helicarriers into space. You're like, they go to space now?
Yeah, they go to space. That would actually be a funny line. Who would say that? I feel like they don't really have anybody who would say that. They can go to space now. I guess Spider-Man would say that if he was in the first one.
Yeah.
They can go to space now? I can just imagine that, and that's a full crowd, like a theater laugh.
Yeah, Spider-Man should be like the Deadpool, and I don't mean like breaking the fourth wall, but I just mean like kind of because he's like us, like he's been a kid watching this stuff going on, so he's gonna like be like, what is going on right now? Like I think he'd be the perfect person for that.
They can go to space now.
That'd be
just. The very thought is cracking me up.
Yeah, so I think that would be cool. But so I guarantee you, Josh, let's put money on it that I'm willing to make two bets. The helicarrier for some type of shield ship is going to space, and they're going to do a scene about like the Avengers had no idea about this, and they're going to be like, oh yeah. And then there's going to be a scene where Wakanda is sending ships to space also. I am willing to bet both of those things are going to happen. And if Wakanda doesn't do it in Avengers 3, it'll do it in Avengers 4. I bet it.
Oh, yeah, I forgot this is two-parter.
Well, see, that's the thing. They say it's not two-part. They say it was originally two-part, but they're actually not it's not a two-part anymore. They're just filming them back-to-back. So like Avengers.
So are they not related, really?
Well, that's the thing. That's what I'm wondering is because
Well, I guess it's called Infinity War, so it might last. Like the war might. Oh, yeah. It could really change this could really be like an entire shift. Oh my gosh. My entire line of thinking for the Marvel Cinematic Universe has changed.
Are you realizing that they're shifting the Avengers roster?
Yeah, in that war, this isn't a battle, it's a war.
Yeah. Like
this could very well be they're gonna change the whole dynamic of these superheroes, what their real role is. Who's going to make it out, alive. And then after this, the whole world still is going to be different. They just went through this huge war with God, basically.
Yes,
so this is literally we'll probably wow. I don't know why that just opened that one. I had a little epiphany moment.
Well, that's why I think it's cool is that the speculation is that some of the old guys are going to die or retire. Like a big one that they say is going to die is Captain America is going to fake his death. And then he'll come back because they're not going to really. I don't think people keep talking about Iron Man Cap. I have this feeling that Iron Man Cap, neither of them are going to die, or if they do die, they're going to come back. Their movies make way too much money, and their characters are too popular. I'm not saying that nobody's going to die. I think there's a good chance Hawkeye could die. I think there's a good chance Black Widow could die. there's not a good chance she's going to die. They only have so many women. They're going to want to keep her. Well, because I'm thinking. If they don't kill off Stark and Cap, maybe they'll kill off Thor. I don't know.
I might be able to see that, actually.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody could kill Thor, it's Thanos. So
that would actually be sad, though, too.
Oh, it would.
I really care.
Yeah. No, because you know why you care? Because unlike Superman, you'd have more than one movie with him. And also, Marvel would probably find a way to lead up to this. Like there'd be a crescendo. It would.
God, but I kind of wish Thanos was the one to break the. Because I kind of want Thor to die like when the hammer breaks.
Oh well, that's not going to happen, obviously.
So like when you just know that it's over. Like once you see somebody like take the hammer and just throw it down like a child's toy or something.
Well, it could be. The Thanos. The whole thing in his comics that he's trying to appease death. That's why he kills billions of souls around the universe. Is that he's trying to appease death, who's an actual person.
I don't know if Marvel's going to be able to pull that off.
They're not doing death. I think the rumor now is, the rumor has been for a while, is that Hela, who Cate Blanchett is playing in Ragnarok, is actually going to be death. She's actually going to be death, but she's going to be
play that role basically.
Yes, she's going to be his, and that's why I say you don't waste an actress like Cate Blanchett. You use her for several movies. If you make her the love interest for Thanos, I think that would make perfect sense. She'd take the role of death. And maybe she is the one that kills an Avenger like Thor.
I feel like they're going to kill her, too.
Oh, I'm sure they will. But, oh yeah, she's definitely not getting out of Avengers 4 alive. But she might not get out of it. Who knows?
Yeah, I was thinking, what if they kill her first? And that's,
That's why I'm wondering what Avengers 4 is going to look like. Because the idea is like, a lot of these Avengers, they're going to. I think Captain America and Iron Man are still going to have a role, but they're not going to be doing as much. Like they're not going to be a big a role going on. The new Avengers will be Black Panther and Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch and Spider-Man and Falcon and War Machine, maybe. Unless War Machine dies, I don't know. But we've been speculating when War Machine's going to die for 4 years. They thought that everybody said he was going to die in Iron Man 3. It didn't happen. Everybody thought he was going to die in Avengers 2. It didn't happen. Everybody thought he was going to die in Civil War. It didn't. I'm serious. I remember every single time somebody has thought that he was going to die and he didn't die. So, but they're going to be setting up this new Avengers team, and I've heard rumors that in Avengers 4, that we were talking about the Defenders, that they have a request of Daredevil, and that he helps them a little bit. So I don't know. Exactly what they're going to do, but maybe they tie them into the Avengers a little too. And I'm telling you, the Defenders are going to be involved in one of these Avengers movies.
I'd be happy to see that. I would love to see I think it'd be so cool if they have heroes hold down certain cities and stuff like.
It makes sense. Oh. You're telling me the Defender. So this is my problem. If they're going to do what they're continuing to do, is that they would just go, "Oh, that incident was crazy, man. That was pretty bad. A pretty bad time." So you're not going to do anything. Not going to do anything. I mean,
that was a pretty bad time, man.
I mean, the universe is in danger from Thanos, and they're not going to have anything other than the incident. The second incident was bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's ridiculous. So they have to have some involvement. You can't, especially if you're showing Spider-Man having a spider sense tingle in New York, and Doctor Strange is in New York. You're not going to have any interaction between it. These characters have to interact.
You can't. Yeah, there's no way you're going to completely snubs other superheroes.
No, that's some BS. Either they're part of the universe or they're not.
So, even like when Civil War went down, shouldn't they have contacted them or something?
Well, yeah, there should have been like, oh yeah, you guys need to register.
So did they?
Although I'll let him get away with that only because Daredevil doesn't he doesn't really have power.
Powers? Yeah, he didn't.
But Black Widow had to register. So it actually has nothing.
Well, yeah, I mean they're vigilantes. I think with being a vigilante and
so there should be a warrant out on his head.
This
is what I'm talking about. Make it connected. And Jessica Jones,
talking to you.
Well, because the TV and the movie division are separate, and so now Marvel has two things going on. It has this grand universe which is really Kevin focuses on the movies, obviously, solely. But then you have the Netflix and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and now they have the New Warriors coming out, and the Runaways, and Cloak and Dagger, which looked pretty good, and Inhumans, which is
Inhumans looks really bad.
It looks bad, but it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. adjacent. So you have all that going on, and then on top of that Venom news that they were saying Venom is part of the MCU, but he's not, but he is. He actually is part of the MCU now, they're saying. He's just not going to have any impact on the movies the same way that the Netflix shows don't have any impact, or actually any of the shows, I should say. I don't know why I keep pointing out the Netflix. Any of the shows have no impact on the.
Wait, who is going to be
the Venom? Like Sony wants to do its own Marvel universe, like with Venom and Black Cat and Silver Sable, and so they were originally it was going to be its own thing, which was the thought. But now they're saying it's part of the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's just not going to you're not going to see Venom interact with Iron Man, but you could see him interact with Spider-Man, which would make him part
that
of
makes sense.
Yeah,
because if even Black Cat and Venom, I could see them not really Spider-Man can handle that as long as they in some way there has to be some type of correlation, or some mingling. I don't understand how if they're in New York, somebody better respond.
So I think that this is the future of. I think what we're seeing right now is what we're going to be seeing several years down the road with X-Men. And the X-Men, I don't think are going to be part of the MCU anytime soon. But I think what we could see is that they are a part of it.
Honestly,
they do their own thing.
Honestly, I don't know.
The only reason I say this is because
I wish
you're saying everything is the only two things that aren't connected are Fantastic Four and X-Men right now. Really, everything else is part of the same universe now.
See, the thing, the X-Men, after Apocalypse, I've kind of I'm I don't know if I can trust them. Well,
Logan was good though.
Yeah, it was. But didn't I forget his name. Did Bryan Singer is he directing what is it even called?
Oh, Dark Phoenix?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I think Simon Kinberg is, who has never directed a film. He's only written, but he's been a part of this universe for almost 20 years.
Yeah. Well, it's as I don't know.
Yeah. X-Men has several movies coming out. It has X-Men Dark Phoenix, but it also has New Mutants, which is supposed to be like a horror movie. So I'm actually really excited about that because the cast is Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones and Anya Taylor-Joy from Split and The Witch. She's a really good actress. What were you saying?
I don't know. Game of Thrones actors. Sophie Turner was not a good choice.
No, Sophie Turner was a terrible choice in my opinion.
Yeah, I was I hope Maisie Williams ends up.
I thought that the second I saw the trailer and she said she was having nightmares to Professor X, I was like, what is going on? She is.
I can feel everything. It was we used to make fun of it.
Yeah.
It was I could feel the death. So it was
it was just delivered poorly. And as much as I like Game of Thrones, even on that show, I think she's better now. But there's even moments still where I'm like, ugh, I don't know if she can act or not. And so I think it was an odd choice. But
well, I have faith because X-Men is actually my favorite superhero universe right now because I love X2, I love First Class, I love Days of Future Past,
Logan.
Yes, I love Logan. But then the thing is, I just feel like X-Men are more important. In not obviously not they're bigger, but I don't know what they symbolize and the things that their story it will always mean more to me than random Justice League or Avengers characters.
Yeah, I get it.
So, and the capacity for them to be so much darker because of the way they're discriminated against, or the way that they parallel with certain things that are happening now. Just the capacity for storytelling, I think, is infinitely better. But I don't know. As long as they can keep putting out good movies, I don't need them in the Marvel universe. But if we're gonna keep getting Apocalypse level, where it's just kind of okay to bad, I don't just go ahead and throw it back to Marvel. I'm sorry, throw it back to Marvel Studios.
Well, see, Fox need to give Fantastic Four to Marvel.
Yeah, they can because there's no hope for that. You guys just don't know how to do it.
No, they've struck out.
And Fantastic Four doesn't need to be dark either.
No,
at all. But it fits Marvel so well.
No, it's perfect for Marvel. I mean, couldn't you see Fantastic Four having their tower in New York, and then they interact with the Guardians because the Fantastic Four are very cosmic. With characters like Silver Surfer and
oh God,
and
just
Galactus.
imagine Silver.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was thinking, I was like, you love that character. You used to love that character.
I still, oh my God, just imagine the Silver Surfer interacting with the Avengers.
But see
Oh
how
God,
perfect that is? It makes no sense to me why Fox would hold on to that. What are these characters like Silver Surfer and Galactus going to do like on their own? I think
imagine like how all the potential with the Fantastic Four in that universe. New York, first of all, New York is just packed. Oh God,
yeah, you got the Avengers, the Defenders, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange.
There should never be one person dead in New York. I'm sorry, there should never be.
In it.
Yeah, nobody should be hurt in New York. There's so many heroes.
Everybody should be safe. The only people who shouldn't be safe are the people that Punisher is going to kill, which are bad people. So nobody's in danger other than them. So yeah, which also part of it. Good
God,
do they really need that many people? Like, do you really need the Avengers and the Defenders and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange and the Punisher and possibly the Fantastic Four?
Yeah, exactly. You don't.
And also,
you don't
the
need
X-Men are in New York too.
Upstate,
if they were in the universe, they'd be. Well, the Avengers are now in upstate too. So.
Oh.
Well, because remember the Avengers facility in
I didn't even know where that was.
Yeah, that's upstate New York.
Wow. Shoot. So I'm just imagining like if all of this was connected, the Fantastic Four just I don't even think I can articulate. Like, I just need it done.
Yeah, I know.
You know, because the stories that could be told, and then the fact that Marvel Studios, like, I just want those characters brought to life in the movie to be good.
They've made one
like,
good
I'm sorry. If they made the Silver Surfer, like, if they made that movie in Marvel Studios and it was good, oh my god,
that'd be great.
I would actually, man, just things could be so much better off for superheroes.
I mean, they have such a perfect opportunity to put Silver Surfer with the Guardians, tie him in with that.
Oh my god! And okay, so is the Fantastic Four's origin story? Is that like, was that the actual comic book version, like the movie version? Because I don't really know about the Fantastic Four comic book wise.
They always got their power from like, it was like they were in a spaceship. I think the very first movie in 2005 did it. Like they were in a spaceship and like these different solar flares or whatever gave them their powers. I think in this recent one they gave them, it was like from another dimension. But it's
yeah, I remember that one.
Which was, I mean, that's different, but it kind of had the same effect. Something from space gives them their powers. It was never really, I don't think they ever got into specificity about what did it, but it was never from, they didn't get bitten by an insect or an arachnid or any animal or anything. It was just, it was something vaguely space gave them their powers.
I'm just thinking about the possibilities for like Tony Stark and him sending people, or like them working in tandem on a project in space, and that happening.
Mm-hmm.
Or I mean, I know not everything. The world doesn't have to revolve around Tony Stark, but like,
but I think a perfect opportunity if they had them would be to use the Infinity Gems. How did
to give them
Vision and Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch get their powers from the Tesseract?
Woo.
So
we need this to happen. I need this.
Yes.
Oh, and the cast. Oh my! I wonder who they would. Oh, everything's coming together in my head.
They better not cast the black guy again, or else everybody's going to freak out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, be like, oh my god, was it that big of a deal? If only the movie was good.
It's about time they actually have the Human Torch in the MCU. They keep casting people who are Human Torches in the MCU. Michael B. Jordan, Chris Evans. So they might as well just put the actual Human Torch in the MCU, which I imagine would be pretty funny for both of them.
Yeah, that would be. Oh, imagine the scene where they're both together and then Human Torch comes in. They're like, "What?"
Yeah, they need to do a scene with Captain America, Human Torch, and Eric Killmonger from Black Panther, and they just are like, "This is weird.
This is weird.
Something about this feels off. I feel like I know you.
Have we been here before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh my god. Yeah. Have we met?
And then, like people were saying, they should say, like, no kidding, Sherlock, with Tony Stark and Benedict Cumberbatch, who both play Sherlock.
That would be funny. See, there's a lot of man, there's so many good things that could happen.
But they have to be willing to do it.
I need to watch Spider-Man. I need to watch Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and I need to watch the Netflix shows. If I had Netflix, I would have already watched. You got
a lot of stuff to watch now, yeah.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, yeah, if I had Netflix, I would have watched those ages ago. But like, I didn't feel like watching them on grainy. Never mind, I'm not going to admit to watching things online. But well, I mean, I just admitted that I haven't seen them, so that means I haven't.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So when I get Netflix, yeah, I'll watch them and I'll catch up. And
I'm telling you, Josh, you would love Jessica Jones, and you will really like. I know you didn't like season 1 of Daredevil or what you saw, but I think if you would like season 2.
Is it okay if I skip? Like, if I just watch Jessica Jones first and then go back to Daredevil? Or
it doesn't matter. They have no impact. The shows have no impact on each other. But don't watch Luke Cage before Jessica Jones.
All right. Well, I wasn't planning on that. I want to see Jessica Jones first.
Yeah, I mean, you could, but Jessica Jones comes before Luke Cage. The reason I say that is because Jessica Jones is more connected to Luke Cage than those two are connected to Daredevil. Like, they haven't interacted with each other at all. So, up until Defenders now. So, but Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, Luke Cage is like a supporting character on Jessica Jones for a little bit. So, but I think you'd really like that show. And I think you really like the season 2 of Daredevil with the Punisher. Because they did some really cool stuff with that. And I don't know what you think about Iron Fist, because that got bad reviews. But
I haven't seen it yet.
I didn't think it was as bad as everybody thought it was. But I don't know what you'd think about it. You'd have to kind of figure that out for yourself. But I can guarantee you'd like those two. And I think you'd like Luke Cage too, actually. I think you would like Luke Cage. It's just Luke Cage is very different. And its ending was not strong. It did not have a strong ending. But like the first half of the season is really good. But yeah, so again, go back, watch that. Go back, watch the movies. Then you need to get yourself ready for Infinity War, Josh. You got a lot of stuff to.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I really do have a lot to catch up on.
Yeah, but
and I can't wait to go see them in theaters.
Yeah, I only have 10 months. Yeah, I guess that's really it. I know we were going to talk about Comic-Con, but
there's not really much to say.
I don't know what there's really to say. Because we kind of talked about it, actually. Like, we talked about it.
Other than, what are we expecting?
But, like, Star Wars isn't going to be there. Oh, I guess, we could mention real quick is DC. I think DC has been killing it at Comic-Con the last 4 years at least. Because 4 years ago, they announced Batman vs. Superman, and I thought they did a really good job with that. And we had predicted it literally minutes before, a couple hours before. We didn't predict it, but we said, wouldn't it be awesome if DC did a World's Finest? And then, like, an hour later, that was weird.
Okay, well, I'm gonna predict this. How about we get a Justice League Dark movie that's critically acclaimed and makes $800 billion?
There we go. Now we have it. It's coming, Josh. Yeah, see, we didn't specify that World's Finest should be good.
Yeah, we just said it, and then they were like, okay, well, let's throw anything together.
We're like, wouldn't it be cool? No, it wasn't cool.
Actually, yeah, that's the opposite of what we wanted. God, but Justice League Dark would be, I think that'd just be everything. That would probably be the cherry on top for all superheroes for me. I think it was like the first comic book series that I was like super invested in, and then it got canceled, and I was like, well. Like right as I really started to get into it, I found out that it was canceled because I read it years after it was out.
Yeah, that happened with a Black Panther comic recently. Or no, they stopped doing it. They just like somebody was writing one. I was going to start reading, and they just stopped. But I just read the DC Rebirth, that omnibus I showed you. I read the whole thing, and they had a John Constantine comic in there. I really liked it.
Woo. Love John Constantine.
I thought that was a really cool comic, and I like that he was in he's in London.
We need these characters. But wait, is the one that they were planning, wasn't that like not connected?
No, I think that was always the speculation, and people were like, oh, it's not going to be connected, and then like they were like, why wouldn't it be? But I think it could be, because
I really want to see Zatanna and Batman. Like,
I think I have no doubt it will be connected.
God, because Batman could be so cool, messing with the Justice League Dark, and them all being afraid of him or something.
That'd be awesome.
I love stuff like that when they think he's magic too. Oh
yeah, I like when they find like, this is not Justice League Dark, but when Green Lantern in the animated, it's like, so what powers do you have? And he's like, yeah, I don't have any. He like figures out that he doesn't have any powers. I like how people are like shocked by that.
God, there's so many good moments that I feel like DC's missed out on already that they could have had.
But I think DC,
but whatever. I think they're on the right track.
No, they are. I think they're going to talk about Justice League and Aquaman. But I have a feeling they're going to announce some dates for other ones.
I just really hope to God that Justice League is good because they are on a good note right now.
Mm-hmm. But they need Wonder Woman. Good.
They need to be great.
Yeah.
And then Aquaman. I actually have no doubt that Aquaman will be good. I really think it's going to be good.
No, it has no controversy around it. Like Flash and Batman have been like just terrible. But
yeah, I'm excited for Aquaman. It's a new territory that they're exploring. I love the director. Love his work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I don't know. Yeah, I think it's going to be fine.
I agree. I think Aquaman weirdly is just like all the controversy going around. Wonder Woman and Aquaman just kind of kept moving on. Like they just were like, no, we're fine.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how bad Batman vs Superman Suicide Squad were, no matter how much trouble the Flash was in with directors and Batman was in with writers, no matter how bad it got, Aquaman and Wonder Woman just were like, yeah, we're good. Even Justice League, which hasn't had too much controversy, even had some controversy with Zack Snyder leaving. But those two movies just... So...
I'm ready, yeah. I'm just so ready.
Forward. It seems like you've gotten a little bit more excited about Marvel because I know you've been a little bit kind of
Well, I think most of the excitement that I have for DC comes from the fact that I know so much about DC, and so I understand every avenue, like where they're going when certain things happen. With Marvel, I'm like, I don't really know what's happening, or like
you're not as familiar.
Yeah, so I'm just like, well, okay. So I take everything for face value.
Yeah, we were always kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
I always knew a little bit more about Marvel, and you always knew a little bit more about DC.
God, I love DC. But
yeah, I like both a lot. So I think with DC is like you're talking about being part of the universe. I think we should assume everything is part of the universe because every time Marvel comes out with a new show or they announce a new show, I'm like, you already know it's part of the MCU because they haven't made anything not part of it. So why would you say everything's part of this, but then say, well, the Runaways isn't though? What? Because even like Cloak and Dagger, is part of the MCU, and you know how I figure that out is because at the end of it, they show a sign that says Roxxon, and Roxxon is a company, the big famous evil Marvel corporation that was mentioned in Iron Man 3. Like the Mandarin was threatening to kill the owner of the Roxxon Oil Corporation. And so automatically you're like, oh, there's a tie-in from Iron Man 3. It's part of the MCU. So it's little things like that are, because like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was not subtle in its connection with Marvel. You had Coulson was brought back from the dead to make that show. So, and then Nick Fury was in an episode and Sif was in an episode. So you knew right off the bat it was connected. And they always
I liked the first season.
No, Josh, I'm telling you, I know you're talking about Netflix and you should watch the Netflix shows and all. The last 2 seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. have gotten really good. This last season with Ghost Rider was really good. Mm-hmm. So I would check it out.
I stopped. What season was I stopped when that one dude lost his memory. Or no, not his memory, but he like was insane. Like he was imagining things.
I
think that was like season 2, I think.
Well, season 2 is when I fell off. I watched the first few episodes and then I fell off. And then almost a couple years ago, I went on Netflix and I caught up where I left off. And it was kind of like, all right. And then it picked up like the middle of the season. So like since the middle of season 2 up until now, the show has gotten better and better. Mm-hmm. It's improved.
Okay, I remember. I stopped watching shortly after Winter Soldier.
Yeah. And that was season 1.
Okay, because I remember thinking it was so cool how it was tied in.
Yeah. But then they didn't I never felt like they did anything cool with it.
Truly, yeah.
And so the thing that I was worried about when they tied in with Inhumans, because Agents of Shield since season 2 has been all about Inhumans, so which is probably why the movie became a TV show. So they've really made that show all about Inhumans. So I think that what they did with the Inhumans storyline was much stronger than what they did with the Hydra. What they were trying to do with that. The Inhuman storyline was actually. It's become pretty interesting, but then this season they kept it, but they're focused more on artificial intelligence and Ghost Rider, and it was really good.
I'll give it a chance.
Yeah, give it a chance. And even if I would even say, usually I wouldn't say this, but like if you aren't into the season 2 for whatever reason, like maybe skip the first half of season 2 and go and meet like the second half. Or if you're really still not into it, jump to season 4 or 3 or 4, because I'm telling you, season 4 was really good with Ghost Rider. I think they even it became a more serious show.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you'd be into it.
I'm excited because I remember a few years back. I think I might have done this subconsciously. I was like, I wonder what would happen if I like skipped ahead a few years and had all these like cool superhero things to watch all at once.
Yeah, see, I kind of wish I was in your place a little bit because, like,
so yeah, now I can watch everything at once.
Yeah, I'm caught up on everything. So you got, although I didn't watch all of Agent Carter, but I don't really care that much.
Oh yeah, Agent Carter, is that still on?
But I heard it was good. No, it got canceled, but
yeah, I was like, I completely forgot about that.
I heard it actually was a good show, but I just never, I might watch it at some other time. I feel like I need to watch it less because it takes place in the past.
Yeah.
And so I don't feel the urge to watch it as much. Whereas even like Daredevil, which isn't impacting the MCU, the greater MCU, I still feel like I feel like it's pushing to the but I don't know. You got a lot to watch. Mm-hmm. Actually, maybe you can, on our next few podcasts, you can like discuss what you thought of some of this stuff.
Maybe I'm going to start Jessica Jones tonight.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah, because I have nothing else to do.
Yeah, perfect. Because I think you're really going to like that show, and I binged it really quickly, and it has such a great villain and the themes that it deals with, sexual abuse, and I mean it's a whole other level for Marvel. I think Jessica Jones delved into women and sexual abuse, and then Luke Cage delved into like race, and that was really cool to see Marvel deal with both those things.
Mm-hmm.
Which was, it was unusual for a company that like has aliens flying out of the sky, and now you're talking about this.
And I think that's cool though. I've always liked that, like when other things still matter. Like, aliens don't change everything.
Yeah, aliens coming out of the sky doesn't make rape okay.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't make it any less of a problem.
Yeah, racism is still an issue, no matter how many tin men they're flying in the sky. It's still actually that's what I like about the Netflix shows is like, what would it be like to be a fairly regular person, but be in this world where all this crazy stuff's happening, and you yourself have some crazy stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
And what I kind of like about the Netflix is like you wouldn't focus on all the crazy stuff all the time. Like if the Avengers were real, we wouldn't always be talking about that, but it would still be in the fore. It would still be, you'd still discuss it a little bit. So I really like largely what they've done with those shows. I think it's pretty interesting.
I'm excited to watch.
I guess that's about it. Is there anything else you wanted to add about anything at D23 or Comic-Con or Avengers?
I think we've covered our bases.
Yeah. But I think this is a little longer one, isn't it? Oh.
Watch it be the exact same time.
No, we started at 6:12, it says, 7:38. So it's not that far off from what the last couple have been, but it's, a little longer. All right. Well, I thought this was a good discussion. I'm really getting excited for Marvel and DC after this talk. The DC movie, I just have to say before we go, I'm really excited about is Black Adam, Shazam / Black Adam, or whatever it's going to turn out to be. I'm really looking forward to that.
I am too. Justice League Dark for me, but if it even happens.
Yeah, if it even happens, yeah. I think it will at some point.
I think so too.
Maybe we'll find out next week. Everything we've talked about could totally like shift and change after next week. So
if they drop footage or something, I'd be like, what? It's all been a secret, and I'm like, that would be my dream come true.
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment, tweet at us, whatever. And as always, stay film smart.